Hi guys, it's Blackie. Okay, for today's video, one of my subscribers left in the comments in one of my recent videos about how I rely too heavily on surplus stuff. And that's a valid point, so I'd like to address that. I'm in no way criticizing or anything. I don't want you to think that. But what I'm wanting to do is kind of bring my thoughts to it. I like surplus gear, A, because of the durability, and B, because of the cost, and C, it's sacrificable, and D, if it's going to get stolen, right? And let me give you a quick pointer on that. This is my 1948 mountain bag I picked up at Surplus a little over a year ago. $60. You see how big it is. Probably weighs about 7-8 pounds. This is a down sleeping bag with an outer cover on it that I have personally used this bag down to the mid-20s, and I would feel very comfortable that I could take it down with proper clothing, proper gear around me down in the teens, if not to 0. Okay. In my part of the South, it's rare that our cold gets below 30. You know, the typical winter nights are down to the mid-30s, maybe around freezing, 32. On cooler nights it may break down in the upper 20s, and it's very rare for it to go down in the teens. The coldest I personally have ever seen it here in my part of Alabama was 4 degrees, and that was the winter of 78. So possible? Yes. Not that common. So with me, this sleeping bag, which was $60, serves very well as a camping bag. This sleeping bag is a down sleeping bag by North Face. This sleeping bag retails at $480. It weighs about maybe 2 pounds, okay? And it's a down sleeping bag. This sleeping bag and this sleeping bag are equals to me. I have used both of them down into the same temperature ranges, opened up, same roominess, etc. So this much lighter, smaller, sexier, more compact bag is definitely an advantage. If we're backpacking, this is my bag of choice. If we're car camping or some other form of conveyance, that's just as good, if not this. So why would I carry this in my car in the dead of winter as an emergency sleeping bag when I could carry this? It'd be much smaller, right? Remember that disposability. If I had to sacrifice a sleeping bag for whatever reason, I show up to an accident and someone is severely injured and I need to wrap them up in something to keep them going until help arrives, and they're bloody and they're puking and other kind of body fluids, which bag do you think I want to put on them if I had to? Which bag do you think I'm going to want to have to throw away when it's done because it's ruined? That's the idea. And so surplus has a place. Plus, in today's environment, if my car got broken into and stolen, which is easier? Losing a $60 bag or a $480 bag? That's my mindset. And so to me, surplus gear is usable, disposable, and it's also a gear that I can get and utilize, and if it has to get trashed for whatever reason, I'm not out that much. And it's usually fairly well made gear, fairly tough. If it's US Army issue or even British or even some of the German stuff, it's normally very good stuff and it holds up very well for actual field conditions. It's usually heavy and it isn't as good as the more modern equivalent. So yes, absolutely. If you and I are backpacking and we're going to be doing the Appalachian Trail or something, yeah, I'll be toting this and very light gear because I want to get the maximum use out of the least poundage and the most range. But if that's not the case, this bag will serve just as well in those type of situations. And also, let me answer the question. Several people ask, where do you find your surplus, Blackie? At the end of this video, I will put my contact for my local surplus place. It's Kaufmans Military Surplus in Samson, Alabama. It's a Walmart-sized building, solid, full of military surplus, both U.S. and some foreign surplus. And so if you're looking for a bag, contact them. They've got military sleep systems. I have a full military sleep system that I have used as well, you know, with all the bags in the outer bag. I have used the Gore-Tex Bivy alone. Alice packs, backpacks, other kind of bags, hip bags, butt packs, clothing, you know, those type things are available. And if you're looking for something like that, okay, and you can't find it in your neck of the woods, and that's very true. Many of the surplus places dried up. When I was coming up, it seemed like every small town had a surplus place, and it was World War II gear or Korea gear, and then in the 70s it was Vietnam gear. And many of them are kind of dried up. And so you find it's harder to find a good surplus place. And when you go to gun shows and stuff, quite often they're looking for a premium. This same bag that I picked up at surplus place for 60 bucks, and it's in full issue condition, there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, was 60 bucks. But if I was to go to a gun show or something, that'd probably be $125, $130 bag. At the same time, my surplus place had the MS sleep system for like 140 bucks complete. The outer bivy, the inner patrol bag, and the black bag, and they'd go through and hand select it for you. And the compression bag, like 140 bucks, virtually brand new. And you go to look on eBay and they're $300-400. So yeah, sometimes it's better to look for the deal. And another good source is go to your local garage sales and stuff. I picked up woobies and military gear. Somebody coming back from Afghanistan or whatever and getting rid of theirs because they're out of the military now and don't need it no more. I picked up a lot of gear like that, and then makeup kits for people who are getting started and they just want some light stuff to get started with, you know. Surplus can be the way to go before you invest in the bigger. Yes, there is better, lighter gear, but better, lighter, expensive kind of goes together. You can find better, but not cheaper. You can find lighter, but not cheaper. And so that's one of the things. I'm more thrifty. I came up poor. And so you're going to see a lot of surplus gear in my videos because I use a lot of surplus gear. Not because I couldn't afford better, but in the case of that, I'm real practical. And again, I'm going to be using this to camp out in whatever conditions. You know, I've got an MS sleep system. If it's going to be wet and possibly muddy, the MS sleep system comes out because that Gore-Tex Bivy. I can hose it off on the outside of it. This sleeping bag has a canvas outer cover that I've done a little treating to, so it's more durable and it keeps my sleeping bag cleaner. But if it's a weight issue, it's going to be the little down bag. You see what I'm saying? Having layers, having the various means, you know, by the conditions, really makes a difference. I have a lot of friends, especially when I was coming up, we had a lot of friends, they would do a lot of canoe trips, they do a lot of backpacking trips, going up to the Smokies, going up the Appalachian Trail, go canoe the Okefenokee, you know, whatever. And they use their gear hard, and they went through gear. And I was guilty, you know. I would see that smaller, lighter, more compact bag, and it was rated to, ooh, you know, 20 below zero, and the bag just weighed nothing, and it was that big, and oh, you know, and I shelled out money, you know, and sometimes it was worth it, and sometimes it wasn't worth it. I kept, again and again, I would get a really good bag, and yeah, it was warm, and I'd get 1 or 2 hard seasons out of it, and then the seams would start letting go, you know, and the feathers started coming out of it, or it would just by bad luck, you know, canoe swamped or whatever, and it got soaked, you know, and it was hard to get the thing to dry out and the clumps and etc. I kept coming back to my surpluses because they handled it better. The U.S. Army tested this stuff for field use, and so that was the idea. Does it serve well in the field? Not just in a camping area, not in some little backpack on predetermined trails, but in the mud, in the nasty, and etc. A lot of times this stuff just holds up well. That's my 2 cents worth in it. So, at the end, like I said, at the end of this video and down in the comments box, I'll put your contact information for Kaufmans if you're looking for a surplus place. Contact them if you have, you know, hey, I'm looking for this. The ladies are very knowledgeable of what they got in inventory, and if you tell them, hey, Blackie sent me, they'll hand select it for you. Tell them, you know, Blackie sent me to you, could you find me a U.S. Army butt pack model 65 or a field jacket that's this size. They've got all, and if you got big feet, this is the place to go to, guys. For those that are not that versed in military surplus, the Army puts in an order for X amount of boots, let's say, and they're all the sizes up to big boys, like 17s, okay? And in the regular Army issuing out, well, the 9s, the 10s, the 11s, the 12s, they get issued a lot. So when you go looking through surplus, it's kind of hard to find those a lot of times. But if you got them big feet, those never got issued. And so my friend Dan Lutz, you know, Dan was 6'8" and 300-something pound, 380 pounds standing on his feet, and he had like size, I think it was size 15 feet. Well, he bought a set of boots, $40 a piece. U.S. Marine Corps issue, brand new in the box, 40 bucks. You know, and he ended up buying 3 pairs of boots because 3 pairs of boots was still cheaper than 1 pair of the boots that he had been wearing that was the same, basically the same boot, by going surplus. And so it can be a real asset to you guys. Now don't think you're going to find extra large and things like that, uniforms and stuff like that. There ain't many of them toting a pack. You got to go to the Navy and look for cooks. Find somebody in the Navy, and the Navy cooks are kind of chunky. And so you can find 2 and 3X in Navy uniforms, but it's hard to find a U.S. Army uniform because you don't tote a pack much if you're a 3X. You know, that's Navy cooks. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you do, please hit that like button for me. And until next time, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.